The Italians continue to march against the European Union, and the European Commission takes money from the poor and give it to the rich. Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's show. The whole European Union project is not going too well. As you've seen over the last few months on this channel, we've been reporting how the Italian citizens have been rising up against the EU machine, and things are getting worse economically, unfortunately, for that part of the continent, and the European Commission have decided to take money from the poor and give it to the corporations and the rich. But before we start, as I've said before, you have until tomorrow night, Thursday night, to get your latest merchandise with our special discount, Thank You 10. That's obviously as a thank you for you guys supporting this channel. Now that we've reached 200,000 subscribers, I just wanted to do this to give something back to you guys as supporters, and also especially the members of the channel. So make sure to do that. The link is in the description. Get your hoodies and t-shirts and coffee mugs, and then wear them in public proudly. Let's start with the European Union. We've got the latest Euronews analysis on this, and then we'll come back and report on it.
Fabrizio Caliendo owns a bar in the historic centre of Naples. He has joined the recent protests that have surged across the city because he says he feels let down by the government. Twice a victim of the mafia group known as Camorra, his career and business have been ruined by their attempts to blackmail him.
Well, that's the thing. So the situation in Italy is slightly different to the rest of Europe. A lot of them obviously are experiencing the same problems. The issue we have with Italy is that, culturally speaking, obviously you have all these other groups causing trouble, taking advantage of the situation, and the only people who are getting hurt are the ordinary people, especially the working classes in Italy, and the European Union aren't doing anything to help them.
Right now, the top priority of Camorra is making business. It's injecting money into the market, either by buying properties or companies. It's not interested in taking to the streets or in organizing demonstrations.
According to many, Naples is a sort of alarm bell for the rest of the country. We saw this with that protest against the restrictions a few days ago. Following that one, demonstrations have spread nationwide. In other words, whatever happens here is replicated across the country.
Well, that's the thing. So Naples are getting hit because it used to be a center of tourism, but also hospitality. And as you know, because of the lockdown measures across Europe, hospitality as a sector have been hit more than anything else. And the governments, they've been giving out handouts, some governments, but it's not really working, because people know that it's not just about their own national government and the measures that they're doing. It's the European Union who've been boasting about how we're a family of Europe. We're going to be helping every single person, every single nation. That's not really working. They're helping out the big banks and corporations, but when it comes to ordinary people in Italy, because these people are robust, the way they are protesting, just find out, because the rest of the video there's this guy who's going to talk about how people are not going to pay their taxes anymore.
To the lack of tourists, most of Naples' businesses are suffering.
The real protest would mean us remaining open, despite restrictions, and so we should stop paying taxes. By doing so, institutions won't have our money.
See, it was always going to be happening, this situation, because when the national governments let you down, when then the actual international institution, the European Union, let you down, people will find different ways to march against the establishment. And so, as this guy said, a lot of them are now going to be opening the obviously restaurants and bars against the restrictions, and then they're going to also stop paying taxes to their own national governments. But don't worry, because the European Union have a solution. They've come up with this emergency budget. Obviously coming with 1.8 trillion euros long term, the MFF deal. So you think that this recovery plan is actually there to help ordinary people and businesses? Not really, because what they're actually doing is they're taking taxpayers' money from the consumers, but also, again, the lower skilled workers, to be able to pay for the big business and banks. The situation is that now the EU Parliament negotiators and the European Council have now finally reached some sort of compromise on this, because every EU member was obviously, they were expecting different things and they had different priorities. Now this 1.8 trillion euro long-term budget that they've created is going to be the solution, the savior. It's not really, because what we have is, firstly, in terms of the president of the European Union or the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. She said that I welcome today's agreement on our recovery plan and the next multi-annual financial framework. This is a trap. They're trapping every single member state, which again, what's going to hit is ordinary people out there. Their compromise, some of the elements include that more than 50% of the amount will support modernization through policies that include research and innovation. Also, fair climate and digital transactions. These are the priorities for the European Union, guys. Yeah, fair climate. And I don't understand this the digital transition stuff, because they've been ranting about this in the European Parliament for a long time now. And every single time they come up with some solution for this, no one knows exactly what they're planning to do. Now, they're talking about this recovery thing and being resilient. There's a package that's supposed to be working long term, financial resilience. Not going to get anywhere either. Now, traditional policies such as cohesion and common agricultural policy also continue to receive significant financial support. Again, what this is actually doing is it's not some sort of subsidy that's going to be sent to ordinary people and small businesses, especially when it comes to agriculture. So all these other big firms who are going to be benefiting from this, and 30% of the EU funds will focus to fight climate change. There are ordinary people at restaurants, bars, lower skilled workers in Italy and in Spain and other countries who are suffering, and these people are trying to keep Extinction Rebellion happy. Not saying don't care about the environment, not saying that. It's just that 30% of the budget. Are you kidding me? So these are the compromises that they've decided to come up with, and but obviously the European Union are not the only place that are experiencing all these issues. The problem with them is that it's a big bureaucratic machine with 27 different members, and they all have different priorities. Individual independent countries, like the UK for example, also having problems with the lockdown measures and economic policies. Rishi Sunak as Chancellor is currently popular because he's spending money, but there's going to come a time when the consequences will actually show. This is why in Parliament, the Conservative rebels, MPs, have now created a rebellious group, that's actual official formal group against the lockdown, headed by Mark Harper, Steve Baker, and Graham Brady. Obviously, Steve Baker, who not only voted against the lockdown, second lockdown, but he also actually led. He was one of the tellers for the vote. He led the whole group to make sure that they get more votes, and actually they did increase their votes. This is the same Steve Baker who decided to compromise during the first lockdown back in March with a number of his colleagues, because they were told that this is going to be a short-term lockdown to save the NHS. But then the NHS was actually, the capacity was saved, was protected, there were no issues, and then they kept continuing, and now obviously they've now created this group to make sure that they don't continue with this. They have come up with all these demands or some sort of compromise. They're saying that the guiding principles of this group is that the government must undertake and publish a full cost-benefit analysis of the restrictions. The reason this is important is because until now, everything that they've been doing is all in the name of public health, but no one's actually talking about mental health that's on the rise. No one's talking about, obviously, the cancer patients and other treatments that's not really going well, and obviously economically and people's pockets as well. So that's one thing. But the main thing is end the monopoly on advice of government scientists. So people like Sir Patrick Vallance, Chris Whitty, and the rest of SAGE as a body, they've been in there. They've been dominating the whole argument. Every single time you have someone like Professor Sikora or other scientists and experts trying to recommend alternatives, they just shut them down. So this monopoly needs to end, and then obviously improve the measures that we already have to tackle the whole situation, because you can't completely get rid of it. Obviously, there are some good news that's been happening for these governments the last couple of days in terms of treatment, but in reality, as Steve Baker has said, we have to find a way to live with it. This thing is not going anywhere, and we know that facts are now, obviously, scientists are now saying that it's not as dangerous as we thought it was. It could have been. Back in March, everybody panicked, including medical experts, because they didn't know much about it. Now that they know, they say we need to calm down. Still, public health matters. Look after the vulnerable, the elderly. Doesn't mean you have to be reckless, but this group is going to be helping with this cause. And actually, on this channel, I'm quite focused on this, so I will keep you guys posted, and I'll probably have a couple of the MPs from that group to be interviewed by us. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay up to date, and click on the notification bell next to it and click on all. And as I said earlier, don't forget you have until tomorrow night, Thursday night, to get your latest I Believe in Britain merchandise with our special discount code thank you 10. You could find the link in the description, or just I think it will pop up on my head as well as usual. Thank you again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.